Bonjour et bienvenue à cette édition de Pucknology After Dark avec at J. Alexander 46 et invité spécial at Chelena Goldman, correspondant des Sharks pour BayAreaSportsGuy.com. All right, that's all the French you're getting out of me tonight. I'm sorry. You know what? Also sorry is the result of our game. 2-0. The Sharks lose to the Montreal Canadiens. It's a very much of a backbreaker per se for the Sharks, as they will now have to pretty much win out the rest of their games to try to get into the playoffs. Before we go around, a quick reminder, if you want to be a part of the show, the hashtag is Pucknology After Dark. You can tweet us at PuckGuy14, at JAlexander46, at Pucknology. I'm guessing we can also, use the Twitter machine with at Shalina Goldman tonight. If you are wondering where the two guys are, they are drinking scratches. AJ has his usual DJ gig tonight in somewhere in the South Bay. Otherwise, I'd give him a shout out and everything. And Chris is in San Diego, apparently going to buy season tickets for the Goals while celebrating his 30th birthday.
Happy birthday! Shout out to Chris.
Yes, and you and Mirko Mueller, and I forget who else I had. Oh, and to Amy2928. So, guys, I should be more politically good. Lady and gentlemen, I'll start with you, Gentry. Your quick thoughts about this game tonight.
There's not enough alcohol to numb the pain of that loss. I'm gonna try during this episode, but yeah, it's a bit of as you put it, it's a bit of a backbreaker for this team to lose, to not even so much as salvage a goal out of it. If there was a tie game, it would have been a little bit different. To get a point out of it would have been something that you could look at. But I mean, you gotta give it to Carey Price. The guy proved that he is an all world-class goaltender, and yeah, the Canadiens are no joke this year. So I'm hoping that the Sharks can still make the postseason, but until then, I will be practicing my mini golf skills. Until then.
Go ahead, Shalina. Take your thoughts on tonight.
Oh, well, I definitely agree that you have to give a lot of credit to Price. He's just an outstanding netminder. But you also have to look at the fact that the Sharks cooled off after that first 20. They did have a couple of chances in that second and third frame. Logan Couture had was pretty aggressive. Burns had that shot that went off the post with like a minute and change left. But their play really cooled after that first frame, and I kind of go back to something that Todd McClellan said after the win against Pittsburgh. And it's he said and and again I'm paraphrasing, but it was saying to the team, let's not let this let's not wait for something bad to happen, and then that's kind of what happened with these guys, and we've seen it this season. We've seen it in seasons before where they get behind and they have a really hard time bouncing back, and their whole mentality kind of I don't want to say that they get cooler, but they do. This the start of this game was really physical. Barclay Goodrow was kind of looking like he might have one of those games like he did second to last time that the Preds were in town, and then they go down 1-0 going into that first intermission, and it's you don't want to assume that they're going to slack and lose, but that's kind of what happened. They have a really, really hard time playing a full 60. I think you're still on.
I can mute myself, right? Yeah. No, it's that's been their way. It's been like that for years, unfortunately, where they give up the opening goal or they give up a big goal and they just cannot get themselves out of that funk for some reason. And usually they're able to against these big games, these big games. But tonight, in Montreal, it's already an intimidating, place to play. Throw it in that it's Hockey Night in Canada, and it's probably Canada's best chance at winning the cup since Vancouver went to the cup final in 2011. You throw that in, and you kind of sense they were staying with them, but at the same time, near the end of that first period, it just seemed like they were starting to back down, and then Montreal kept coming on and on and on. I mean, I've talked about their conditioning and everything, but I mean, it just seems like they've been out of it. Yeah, it's an early start time, but I mean, by now you have to get used to it. On this road trip, since you have four more after this, you starting very early.
No, and it's bad timing that this road trip kind of is towards the end of the season. You would have liked to have seen it more in February, just to kind of, so it wouldn't be that much of a, big ordeal. But it's this late into the season, and your playoff streak is on the line, and you're on a 7-game road trip against some fairly tough competition. And if you're playing like this, if you're going to win one, lose one, you better get points out of that. You better win it, and you better tie it, or get at least a point out of it to continue on, because you can't afford regulation losses, especially this late into the season, and especially that many points back. I believe they're still 6 points out of a playoff spot, or
Well,
if
we will
I'm wrong.
take a look at the standings right now as we can show you. So as of this moment, the Sharks are sitting still in the number 4 spot for the wild card with 78 points with 10 to play. Winnipeg won, and so they are now at 86. That puts the Sharks 8 points behind with 10 to play. We were kind of discussing this after or prior to us going on the air. The Sharks now have a maximum chance if they were to run the table and win every game, a 10-game winning streak. It would put them at 98 points, which basically, if you do what they call the quote-unquote tragic number instead of magic, with Winnipeg holding down the last spot, it's at 86, which would put it at 13. And I'm actually going to change that graphic. Calgary has 84, correction, 84, not 86. So technically, the tragic number is actually different. So, but I mean, nonetheless, you're still getting pretty close to where you have to win out, and you have to win every game, and then hope that one of these teams just somehow falls apart down the stretch. And unfortunately, if they were to have fallen apart by now, it would have happened by now.
And that's something else that we kind of talked about before we went on air, was the fact that this was a night where, LA lost, Calgary lost, in OT, and so on a night where you're getting a little bit of help, the Sharks really needed at least 1 point. They at least needed to tie it up and go into OT and at least give themselves a chance to have a point on the board. And that's what makes it even harder going into these next couple of games, because the rest of the road trip isn't easy. They have to go up against Andrew Hammond and Ottawa on Monday, and that's another tough one. One of the things about going into tonight was that they'd had luck against Carey Price at home earlier in the month, and it just the fight to get those points. It's a nail biter right now. You don't want to get too down and out on them, but it's just they need to go on a tear, and like you just said, you kind of have to hope that somebody else starts losing a lot.
Yeah, I mean, talk about tanking for McDavid. You need somebody to just tank to get out of it, and right now you don't see it. Gentry, I thought you were going to say something. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna look. I was looking at the standings, and with our loss tonight, and an overtime loss for Colorado, Colorado is a spot above us with a tiebreaker. And yeah, I mean, who would have thought Colorado would have had a contention, being contention for this, this late into the game? You gotta hand it to them. I mean, it's I don't want to say it's do or die at this point, and you have to find answers. I don't know if maybe if the drama of the off season is continuing to plague the team right now, but you'd think they would be over that, or maybe the recent drama has been kind of seeping into the locker room, and it's kind of left players questioning what's going to happen after this season if they don't make it. I mean, what would be the bigger disappointment? Is last season or the outcome of last season, or this season if they don't make the playoffs?
Go ahead, and Jillian, I'll let you touch up on that. Uh-oh.
Uh,
Did we lose her? We might have
know.
lost her. Jillian, if you're us, you are frozen. And I don't mean you want to build a snowman kite. So,
Oh, sorry, I don't want to pay Disney royalties.
yes, well, it's not. We haven't even gotten to the Spice Girls segment of the show yet, so let's just...
What? There's a Spice Girls segment? Tell me, like, are we going to start singing Spice Girls? Because I can cue some up right now.
No. No. Basically, and yeah, you know what? I didn't realize that the game in hand actually affects the standings, so I'm working on a better graphic, an accurate graphic, so forgive me. But it's do or die. You now technically have Colorado below you, and
Well, actually above you.
or above me. I'm sorry. I'm so discombobulated, it's not even funny. There we go. There's the standings right now. Oh no, it didn't work.
No.
Why did that not work?
God, you know what? This is what happens when we don't have the other two with us. I think it's, already we're off our game. You know what it's kind of reminding me of? It's like the good old days when it was just you and me with an iPhone walking down Santa Clara, except for not being able to walk down Santa Clara.
Right.
But
It tends to be the
there we go.
There we go. Now we got it up. All right.
I swear, only one of us is drunk. Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
And it's not me, which is amazing. So Calgary at 84, which means since they're below a spot that's holding them in the playoff spot, they're at the maximum of 104. Sharks have a maximum of 98, meaning so when Calgary hits 99, so the tragic number is actually 15. All right, now we got that out of the way. Chilena, I'm gonna text you or I'm gonna message you. I'm guessing it's a technical difficulty. Overall, what did you? I thought they played a pretty decent game tonight.
Like the first period was like they had jump. They had it showed that they were making the effort, and it was like, all right, and then they let that one in early, and I was like, okay, it's still a 1-0 game. They could still make it back if they continue playing this way through the next 40 minutes. And then it trailed off, and they were just going through the motions, and there wasn't that jump. There wasn't that fight. There was a glimpse of it, and I honestly say that the only two sharks that really showed up this game were Auntie Niemi, which, as many of you know, I have an issue with Nemo, and Logan Couture. Logan Couture was everywhere tonight except for on the score sheet, but he was making the effort all night. And it just kind of seemed like everybody else was going through the motions, and also it infuriates me that this late into the game you're only seeing two players kind of show up. And I think the biggest tragedy of it all was towards minute and change left, and you see Burns hit that crossbar or hit the post, and you're just like, oh, it's going to be one of those games.
Yeah, I mean, when you hit the crossbar, it's like, oh boy. And when you hit multiple ones, we've always seen it. It just seems to be um, back and forth. And of course, it's just one of those where it's just those bad luck. Of course, it reminds me of '94 when Karpinov hit the crossbar in the playoffs, which I still think was probably the Sharks' best chance to play in a Cup final, to be honest. So we'll take it to the tweets early while Jelena's trying to get back on. At Generation X-Wing, oh, you are so funny. Is the stadium jersey for sale or free with the purchase of 160 Sharks tweet-up buttons? Haha, no. Speaking of tweet-up buttons, since I do have a plethora of them all still, we are having a tweet-up in April 6th, the last home game of the season, which now looks like literally the last home game of the season, when the Sharks take on the Stars on Fan Appreciation Night. So after you get your Patrick Marleau bobblehead, head over to the Sharks Foundation kiosk. It's on the concourse section between sections 118 and 120. There's Jelena. That will begin once the doors open, right before the warm-ups begin.
All right, and then another question we got was from Daryl Martin, King Shark 49 on Twitter. So if the Sharks don't make the postseason, who are you going to support? He's going to go for the Minnesota Wild. Eric, I'm going to let you answer that one first.
For me, it's tough because I do like Minnesota. I was bummed that they lost their North Stars to Dallas, but as much as I would love to see somebody keep LA out, I would love to see the whiteout in Winnipeg be revived again. And I think Winnipeg could be one of those teams like the Sharks in '94, where they show that passion, they show the fire and the drive that playoff teams should have, and they'll probably be going up against Anaheim in the first round, which I would think they're a team that they can beat.
That would be a hell of a matchup too. That would be fun to watch.
And wouldn't it be funny if Timu came out of retirement? Which team are you going to play for? It would be the Solani series, pretty much. He'd have to go to every game and drop the puck before every game. So I would like to go with Winnipeg in the East. If we're going to be out of it, let's get the Canadian curse over and done with. Maybe go with Montreal. They look really good and promising. Chelena, your thoughts?
On who I want to see?
On who you would root for if the Sharks were eliminated from the playoffs?
Well, I don't really get to do that. I have to be all professional and non-partial and stuff. And I'm going to be buried in whatever shenanigans the Sharks get into during the off season, which will probably start pretty quick. So I really don't want to watch LA again. I think that's my only thing. I'm kind of over LA.
I think you speak for 99.9999% of the fan base of that.
Well, there you go.
They don't want to see LA take it.
What's that fan base?
Yeah. Woo! Go us. Go Sharks.
There you go.
Gentry, your thoughts? Who would you root for?
I'm going to go for two East Coast teams. I'm going to go for Boston because I love the way they play, and I love the way the organization is. They play a good physical game. They've got good defense, and they've got great goaltending. But in my heart of hearts, I want to see the Rangers take it completely because my favorite former Shark is currently on the Rangers, and I would love to see him win the Cup. Just that would make my day. And the person I'm of course referring to is Dan Boyle, who has been called my man crush, which is not true.
It is beyond true.
Are you sure?
I
Oh,
am. I am. I'm sure.
he made me. They
Don't
make.
believe you for a second.
he makes
Dave,
my.
you can't even say that with a straight face.
I can say it with a straight face. It's just I'm drinking a
Is
lot,
that the
so
beer talking?
Yeah, that
yes,
makes
Is that the booze smile?
yes.
naturally, of course. Um, it's oh, and Generation X Wings also checked in. How hi Puckeye 14? How them playoff seats reserved looking? Well, mind you, it's not just me, but it's also Gentry over here. So we are privy to Section 211, Row 11, seats 1 and 2. If we get in, doesn't look like it. Looks like we have a nice little credit going into next season. Um, you
Which
know,
I'm totally fine with.
right. So, Chelina, let's talk about you for a little bit and tell us about your background and
Oh.
how you got into your correspondence or your representation with Bay Area Sports Guy. .com.
Sure. No, I wrote for another site for a couple years. I did mostly baseball. I'm from a really big baseball background. I am actually I'm from San Ramon. I am a Cal
Nice.
High grad. Born Walnut Creek Kaiser. Um, I did a lot of I did mostly baseball. I'm from a my dad coached, both of my brothers played, and I have cousins that are Sharks season ticket holders. That part of my family was always super into hockey, but I hadn't even really considered covering it. Started covering it during the lockout season, actually. Started covering the Bulls. Which and then when that ended, started covering the Sharks, and now I'm into season 3 of doing that. And after last off season, hit up Bay Area Sports Guy looking for something new. I was like, hey, you need a Sharks writer? And he was like, yeah, sure. And just I've been with him almost a year. Great experience. He's the best. I have nothing but wonderful things to say about him and everybody that I write with, and just the Sharks in general. It's a really good gig, even when they don't win.
Right.
So yeah.
Supposedly that makes for better writing and easier writing, and for easier radio if the radio stations ever want to cover it. That
Oh
would
no
Some
no no no!
they do.
Let's not go into
You
the
occasionally
95.
get the
Let's not go into the 95.7 rants, okay?
no, no.
AJ and Chris aren't here for that.
We'll
That
reserve
will be 20 minutes of our runtime if we got into that again.
right.
Love you guys, but yeah.
No, we'll reserve
I do have some friends over at 95.7. So.
I
Right.
preferred it when they were Z95.7.
Oh,
The
see, I
Bays hit
missed
music.
that.
Yeah,
Doesn't
Oh,
anybody miss when they were Z95.7? They've been like 5 things since then.
yeah.
You
I
know
mean,
that you're from the Bay when you remember Z95.7.
exactly.
mhm.
It's
There you go.
it's funny. They went from, and I'm probably showing my age here. They went from a KPIX news station to 95.7, the pop station, to one of the 18 billion classic rock stations, The Drive. Then I think they had The Bear, the country station.
Wasn't the Bear after Z? Wasn't it
So
Z95.7 and the Bear?
I thought it was the classic rock station, then The Bear.
Yeah, it became the Bear after the classic rock station, and the Bear confused me because I thought that was something else entirely when I heard that it was the Bear 95.7. But that's just me and my dirty thoughts. But whatever.
Oh
Um,
boy. And then there was, just to finish it off, they had the what I think they call the iPod station, Jack, or I forget what it was. Then they went back to the Wolf, and then
That's what I was thinking of before the Wolf.
yeah, there was the
Because
Wolf,
that was the country station, right?
right?
I remember
So
turning on my radio one day and all of a sudden it was like, why is there country music coming out of my Because that probably dates me. It was coming out of my boombox. I
right.
had the big Sony boombox with like the speakers that you took off and put on like opposite sides of your room for like the big surround sound.
Right. And I can tell by the Led Zeppelin poster you are into rock.
Yes, I am. I am a big music nerd. Big
Very
music nerd.
nice.
If you check me out on Twitter, I'm normally complaining about the EDM that the Sharks play during warm-ups. I want for this
Hey,
one game for
hey,
them
hey,
to let me
hey.
do this to be amazing.
I
Okay.
like some
I
of that
don't do
EDM.
electronic. It doesn't happen.
Uh,
Oh
let's
man.
see here. So we have gotten some more comments in. Um, Alden Tanaka, I hope I'm saying that right. If not, forgive me. Along with Chester Chivo, have both picked the Rangers. Um, Alden going with Boiler, Shep, and Morsey. Morsey, he
Oh,
occupied the nickname there. Yeah, Dominic Moore. Forgot about that. So they have like an eighth of the roster that lost to St. Louis. Awesome. Um, King Shark 49 Dallas is leading Chicago 4-0 in the third period. The Stars win will knock the
crazy.
Sharks down to
11.
11th. They will be below Colorado and Dallas, and that would be their last spot that they would be staying at. They can't go any further because there's no way Edmonton will catch the Sharks. So, and I'm surprised
Not wood.
Arizona is actually worse than Edmonton. How is that possible? Isn't that like against?
They went on a pretty bad skid, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, because they were going like, because I don't know what happened, but Mike Smith just was not the elite quality goaltender that he was last season, and just they completely tanked this year. And there were rumors that everybody was going to be getting traded. You know, obviously Keith Leandol got moved, and another rumor is that uh, Oliver Oliver Ekman Larson is going to be on the trade block come the draft day.
I wonder if the Coyotes could use a goaltender. Hmm.
Too bad we couldn't move, somebody at the trade deadline.
Right? I
Mm.
wonder because there's no way that they're gonna sacrifice their first round pick, you know, because they're hoping that they can suck for McDavid and have a nice combination of Domi,
De-
McDavid,
and
and what was it?
Declare, Duclair,
Claire.
that
I
they
mean,
just
that
got from
line right
the
there is going to
Rangers.
be something amazing.
Can you imagine what that team is going to be like when they move to Seattle or to Las Vegas? And they've got that line of McDavid, Domi, and Duclair. Oh my lord!
That
We're
that's going to be very scary, and the Sharks would probably be even more behind. Um, uh, you know, but I just don't know. I mean, even with the development that's coming on, supposedly, um, the I mean, they have that line set up in Arizona. It's a matter of time before Edmonton finally gets their head out of their ass. If not, they need to start trading away Nugent Hopkins and Hall and Eberle or whoever to get something better. They need some help.
It's funny because with all the problems that Edmonton have defensively, they keep picking forwards in the first round. It's like you would think that they want to improve on their defense because that's the thing that Edmonton's truly lacking is defensive depth and maybe some goaltending. And they haven't done anything about that yet. They haven't just like, no, we're gonna have top nine forwards like that are all first rounders at this point, and they're gonna win us everything. It's like no, defense wins championships. I mean, obviously you look at the Kings and how they've developed their defensemen and how they've won two Stanley Cups, and then you look at the Blackhawks and their defense and how they've won two Stanley Cups within the past couple of years. And it's like, why hasn't everybody else taken notice that defense wins championships? And like honestly, like when Nemo won the cup with Chicago, in 2010, uh, he was back. He was an okay goaltender, being sheltered by one of the best defenses in the league that year. So everybody when Nemo came to the Sharks, everybody was thinking, oh man, he's gonna be the savior. He's gonna be everything that we need. We're gonna go to the Cup again. I was like, let's hinder back our expectations just a wee bit. So
Just to calm it down.
yeah.
Um,
He
the
also hasn't played the same since he came over from Chicago either. I mean, granted, the defense in front of him has a lot to do with it, but like other goaltenders, he's streaky. He goes through these cold streaks. But even with that, he's still not the same guy that he was in Chicago, and unfortunately, that happens.
Exactly. I mean, yes, Chicago had a better defense, which we tried to steal off of that off season, which is how we ended up getting Nemo. But you need some help with this defense-wise, and it's not just defense. Sometimes it's just getting goals too. I mean, look at tonight. Nemo had a pretty good game tonight, and we can find the back of the net. The Dallas-Chicago game has gone final, so now the updated state. Oh gosh, it didn't update. Damn it!
Lord.
Wow. Maybe I'm tanking for McDavid.
No. You're still in the K-Cups and playoffs, so you can't. You're gonna go to the next round.
Right.
I wish we could do like a separate thing where it's like in the fantasy league.
Yes, exactly. All right, let me try this again. No. Dang it. To hell. All right, you two keep talking while I figure out why the heck this thing is not working for me.
Are you having issues?
Yes.
We're all having technical issues. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
No. I'd like to think that the Sharks. I mean, if the Sharks could truly rebuild this season, like I think that this season could be like the nice little wake up call for them to kind of see, like, because we've been in it for so long and we haven't really needed to address anything, but like this season I feel like this could be like all right, we got to put everything with a microscope on it and see like what went wrong, and like where we can go from here. It's like obviously we've still got a potential, like when you have players like Melker Karlsson kind of making a name for themselves on a line with Thornton. I think Melker Karlsson has been the best discovery in this whole season. He goes to the net. He goes to those dirty areas, and if you can sign him, that would fix one problem. But then you can, and we're gonna have cap space for next season, so you could get some defensive help, could get some veteran help if we don't sign Scott Hannon again.
Well, one of the things with their defense, I mean, and defense has really been their biggest struggle this season, I think. Beyond guys getting hurt, inconsistency between the pipes, but they haven't had good defensive depth this season, and that really struck when you had both Braun and Vlasic out. They got rid of Dan Boyle, they got rid of Brad Stewart, and really banked on Burns making a quicker transition back to the blue line, and it took him more time to get comfortable, as it turned out. And so I hopefully that's kind of I hope that's one of the things that they get from this season. If there are certain spots for a wake up call, is that they're we just talked about defense wins championships, and it's just, I mean, you can't put that on tonight necessarily, because it wasn't necessarily like a poor defensive game, and you have young guys like Marco Mueller who are still getting acclimated. I actually think he's looked better the last couple of games. I think he and Brendan Dillon are finding some chemistry, but I think I hope it's, you go back to the month of December when they had the longer stretch of games at home and they were winning. And you start kind of thinking, oh, that's okay. They've gotten over the whole thing from, last season. They'll make a nice run. And then they went through that stretch after the All-Star break where they could not win a game. And I think that's really what did them in. They all of a sudden they found themselves after the outdoor game out of a playoff spot, and everybody else picking up steam except for them.
Yeah, and it seems like they've been on such a crazy run that everybody else, Minnesota, Winnipeg, LA. Um, they've all gone on like hot streaks while the Sharks have just faltered. And we've been noticing the Stadium Series, the Detroit game, the
Ottawa game.
Ottawa game. That's 6 points. 6 points is huge right now. 6 points now would mean that they would be out of the playoff picture at the right now, but still, that's 6 more points than you have. I think I got the graphic up right, so let's reset this up again. Dallas won, beating Chicago 4-0. All right, we got it right this time. Okay, so that means San Jose falls down to the sixth spot in the wild card because Dallas and Colorado have games in hand. However, if I recall correctly, they both have less regulation overtime wins. So technically, once they all get to 82 at the moment, San Jose would be higher up. That being said, as of right now, the Sharks sit sixth. They're tied for 78 points with Colorado and Dallas. That's this worst spot that they will be able to get to because Edmonton and Arizona stink, which would put the Sharks at a 5% chance at landing the first overall pick. Which brings up this question. With 10 games to go, you are virtually getting close to being eliminated. Now, granted, Worcester is still in the playoff picture themselves. You bring some call-ups up to finish out the year to see what they got. I mean, Tennyson looks like he's a NHL caliber defenseman, but he's in Worcester right now. Do you bring him up? Do you bring like Taylor Fadoon gets a chance to finally play this season? I don't know. I think do you just finish out the year with who you have, or do you bring some people up, even though Worcester is going to make a final push before they pack up and move to San Jose to become the team named to be Laters?
I would like to see, if anything, if the Sharks don't make it to the playoffs, I like to see Doug Wilson send Matt Nieto and Hurdle down to Worcester because I think they still have their two-way deals. They can send them down there without waivers, if I'm correct, and help out the Worcester Sharks and help them in that playoff hunt. Because what better way than at least one Sharks organization thing could actually win something and possibly go on. But then it gives also a chance, because if you can develop our minor league system to actually win games, maybe that will pass on to the next season when, and that goodwill can pass on and say, oh, hey, look, this team won something last year. Maybe that will help them sell more AHL season tickets in
that
the
also
long run.
into the whole tomorrow team thing and, and going younger, building up that, if, the Worcester, the soon to no longer be Worcester Sharks keep making a good push that, for the guys that can come back up. Tennyson has had just such an awesome season when he's come up to San Jose, and I'd like to see him have more time next season. So, no, at this point, I don't know if bringing anybody up is necessarily that beneficial. I really don't know if that does a whole lot of good. Maybe if they'd won tonight, I'd be saying differently, but
yeah, it's one of those things where it's tough to decide. Right now, Worcester's sitting a point out of 8th in the Eastern Conference, as Springfield has 73 points and the Sharks have 72.
But they won today. I think they won 6-1.
Yeah, they won 6-1. By the way, John Allred, I hope you're having fun in Worcester. Glad you're having fun. Also, by the slim chance that Wingle at _Wingles is actually watching us while enjoying Montreal, I am so jealous that you've been eating Tim Hortons donuts. I
Yeah,
swear,
and
as much as we,
eating Canadian poutine like authentic,
oh,
cause my feels right there. I want authentic Tim Hortons coffee and donuts and poutine. Just I want all of that one day.
It's actually kind of funny. I was talking about this with some of the beat guys. Poutine's kind of become like the bar food du jour. I don't know if it's just in the Bay Area, but that's like the thing now. Is you can get poutine at least in SF. It's kind of like the new kale. Like places have poutine.
so healthy.
And it's not well exactly right. Same caloric intake. I believe one of my coworkers said. But it's not the same. It's just not the same.
So you've been up there then.
For like 2.5 seconds, yes. And,
Oh, that's 2.5 seconds more than either one of us have.
well,
So
there you go.
we're jelly.
You're jelly.
Yeah, we're so jelly that my favorite singer is Jelly Clarkson.
Oh boy, wait a minute. Where's the freaking After Effects when I need him?
This is why we need Brody to be our producer,
Oh,
because he had everything marked down and ready to go. You
right.
know what? This is what the show has been lacking since the Brody Brazil appearance, is that we don't
I'm
have
not
After
Brody, you
Effects.
guys. I'm sorry. My hair isn't even as good as Brody's. I apologize.
There we go.
There you go. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll be here all week.
job.
Don't forget to tip your waitresses and do the teal.
Ah.
Ay, ay, ay. All right.
But
So coming up on Monday night, when we last played them, they didn't look like they're anything. Now all of a sudden they've won 6 in a row. The Ottawa Senators with the hot phenom guy that everybody's talking about,
Andrew
Hamburglar.
Hammond.
the Hamburglar.
Yes, Andrew Hammond. Thank you, because I couldn't think of his name right off the bat.
That's why I'm here.
That's why this is
70
why
times.
the Sharks need to find a Grimace. Find him.
John Scott, of course. Come on.
Perfect. We need a Grimace, we need a Ronald McDonald, and then we'll just get all the, McDonald's sponsorships. Or heck, we can
Well,
just go
from what
off the
we've seen,
thing.
from the music videos, there are guys on the Sharks that like to dress up. So you never know. Maybe that'll kind of jazz them up to win if they all go out in costume. It's not a bad idea. Anything goes right now.
Right?
If John Scott or Joe Thornton can dress up as the Grimace, that would make my day. Or Mayor
I want
McCheese.
to see, I want to see John Scott in like a Ronald McDonald outfit since he wore
Oh,
the grandma wig during the Christmas video. I think he'd do it.
Oh boy.
Then who would
You
be
never
Mayor
know.
McCheese? Then we need to get Doug Wilson as Mayor McCheese.
Or we'll just have John Scott replenish his role as so.
Oh, there are the effects. There we go.
Yeah. You have no
No,
idea.
Brody.
This
No,
is
Brody.
all Brody's fault. We had no idea about all these that or
All
the
things.
that. And if you guys haven't seen it, it's episode, just YouTube search Pucknology After Dark, episode 17. Even the preview picture is Sarah McLachlan with Brody in his dog face. So
Now every time I see that avatar on there, all I want to do is just think, I will remember you.
we've gone off the deep end.
This is what the Sharks have done to us.
Yes,
They've done.
we've lost our minds, which might not be a good thing.
I'm gonna.
You guys
if
are
the
doing
Sharks.
this with alcohol.
Oh, trust
Reminder.
us, AJ and Chris, they're, you should have been here for St. Patrick's Day. They were boasting about how much Guinness they were having. To the tweets we go. Chester Chivo, I'm gonna save this and post it for you since you're making fun of it. The one time I talk about what you need for the Stadium Series game. Now it's become a thing. So today, on the Pucknology QVC thing, we have tickets available for the playoffs. The retail value $20,499. Today it's $9,099, but you can get it for 3 easy payments on the Easy Pay for $3,033.
Jeez.
Oh
I,
boy.
I just gotta say, our Pucknology fans are the quickest when it comes to photoshopping all of this stuff. I'm gonna give you guys
Yeah,
all the
I'm a
credit.
little jealous. I wish I could Photoshop things that quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you
I'm not
guys
gonna
so much
lie.
credit. You guys make the show hilarious with all your, photoshopping skills. I wish I could be a part of that. But hey, that's none of my business. This brought to you by
Um,
Stone IPA.
oh boy. Yes, we're still looking for sponsors. And if you do hit the subscribe button below for mine or Chris when Chris takes control of the show, that'd be graciously appreciated no matter what. Um, so we'll throw out the McDonald's promos for the Ottawa game, but on a serious note, Shalina, your thoughts with pretty much the season now in balance going into Ottawa?
It's I wish I could be Mary Sunshine about it, but it's pretty bleak. It's pretty bleak. They're about to face a good team. Not that they didn't face a good team tonight, but with the shutout that they had against the Habs, even going into their building, I felt a little bit better. But it's going to be they have to find the back of the net. Like that's so important, and their top scorers have gone into games with cold bats the last couple, and just they it's going to be hard to beat Hammond. I don't want to be the biggest Debbie Downer, but it's they literally need to win every game from here on out, and everybody else has to lose, and that's kind of asking a lot. Not
Absolutely.
kind of, it is.
Yes. I mean it's down to the nitty gritty. They need the old NHL Network ad. The coach would say they need 110%, 100% of the time. That's what we're looking at. Gentry, what are you looking for as we head to Canada, Ontario, to take on the Sens?
For the sake of my fantasy hockey team, I need Bobby Ryan to get me a hat trick. Um, I need, I just mostly points from Bobby Ryan. But other than that, I really want the Sharks to show up. I really want them to kind of show the fans that they still have something left to prove, and they do. It's like if you look at it on paper, this team is still good, but it just comes down to the fact of, can they answer the problem that is, or the enigma that is Andrew the Hamburglar Hammond, and get some goals. I mean, if they can salvage a point, if they can salvage points from here on out, they have a chance. I would love to see them. But mostly I just need points for Bobby Ryan. I need to win the K Cupton again. At this point, it's
It's
from.
not as if the
Oh,
Sharks don't have the. Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no,
It's
go
not as if
ahead.
the Sharks don't have the.
Yeah, go
I mean,
for it.
they're angry after a loss. They're not happy with how they're playing. It kind of goes back to what I said before. They have this thing about playing a full 60. I'm not really sure what it is. They have a lot of trouble with maintaining their momentum. Even if as the Epic's camera crew showed to the rest of the world, even if Pavelski lights them up, during intermission, they have to find a way to play a solid 60 minutes of hockey, or they're going to have a hard time notching a point every game.
What do you think that is? Because I mean, this team has always struggled trying to keep leads or just getting down, after a goal's been scored. Why is that? I mean, it just seems to happen on a consistent basis, and we've done all season to try to put a finger or something on it as to why it happens that way. I mean, since you're in the locker room, I'll ask you how.
Oh,
What?
if I knew, I would march in there and stand up on a stool and be like, "Hey guys, I know what to do to play a full 60." It's not just this season. This went back, to seasons before. I think they're definitely past the point of they're definitely past the point of, I think, playing down to the competition, only winning against tougher teams. I think I think after how difficult of a February that they had, they found the push. I think the thing right now is that when you look big picture, since they are a team in transition, maybe that just kind of wears on them. You also do have to take this road trip into consideration when you come into this. I don't want to blame it on that, but they've had a really gnarly schedule this whole, gnarly being the technical term. They've had a really difficult schedule this whole season, and then going into this roadie and having to maintain energy and just I really don't know. Like Gentry said, on paper they're good and they have the potential to play solid games every night. For whatever reason, playing a full 60 just doesn't seem to happen as often as it should.
So what you're saying is that this is the league's fault that we're not in the playoffs.
No.
Because I'm down with the conspiracy.
You're gonna get me in trouble with the league.
Yes.
Not...
No. This is playing into what everybody says, that it's the league's fault, it's Toronto's fault, it's the refs' fault, But yeah, I think it's just it's just a combination of things, whether it's bad puck luck, whether it's just bad luck in general, or whether it's just like this team has kind of had it. This has been a very interesting, tragic follow-up to a season. Like last season, I felt like this team had a shot to go deep, and then of course that thing happened, which I'm not going to be like NBC about and keep mentioning. We'll just call it the thing. The thing happened, and you would think that the Sharks would have responded like Boston did when their thing happened, and they would go on to win the Stanley Cup. But that thing just has affected this team too much. I would have, if anything, if I wanted to just say one thing, is that I would have loved to have seen Tennyson up a little bit more this whole season. He's been stellar as a third pairing. We needed a right shooting, a right-handed defenseman, and it kind of shows because
he and Irwin are really good together.
Yeah, and you know what? Give Irwin some credit. Like when he's put with somebody else that's not Scott Hannon, he is fantastic. And I thought Irwin and Burns tonight were great. It reminded me of when Irwin played with Boyle a couple seasons ago in that shortened season. And
yeah.
Irwin looked good. I think it's just who he's paired up with, where he kind of has to carry the weight of whoever he's in Hannon is just not good. If I'm gonna stack everything on the Sharks this season on any one person, I'm not gonna stack it on Bettman or Wilson. I'm gonna stack it on Scott Hannon. I can't do that with a straight face.
No, you
can't. I can't do that with.
That being said, Shalina, you got a couple of seconds to promo the site or whatever you want. So go ahead.
Sure. You guys can find me at BayAreaSportsGuide.com. I'm on Twitter at Shelena Goldman, Chelena. Goldman spelled like it sounds. Hit me up. I like to talk to people. Bring it.
So have I been saying it the wrong time, the wrong way the whole time? It's Shelena?
Yeah.
My sincere apologies.
Okay.
Just tell me.
Okay.
I am so sorry.
Story of my life, 28 years on this planet. Believe me. That's perfectly fine. It's okay.
I could totally understand because that's my last name, and good luck anybody getting it on the first try.
Oh, what? I haven't yet? Kura?
Well, you don't count. You've known me for too long. But anyway.
At least, you know what? People can't even say my name right.
Well, that's why we call you Gentrol instead when you're in trouble. All right. With that being said, we'll wrap this up. For the vacationing Chris JWS, I hope you have a wonderful birthday. For AJ Strong, I hope you're going epically tonight. To Jay Alexander, and to Shalana Goldman. Oh, it's almost got that nice French to it. Shalana Goldman. Um, we will leave you with this song because, how much we love our music, and a nice little power ballad because I think it reigns supreme. So until Monday night, where we should all be on, we'll see about that, although I got to work late on Monday. Keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it real fresh. No, that is not trademark, Brody, but we are living on a prayer.